This is the Rogue Velocidor. It's probably the most overbuilt dip attachment you can get from the most overbuilt home gym equipment company. Want to know if you should buy it? Let me tell you what I think. Hey guys, Yuan here with Home Gym Europe, and today we're going through one of the attachments that I got with my Rogue Arm 3 rack, the Velocidor. As its name absolutely doesn't suggest, it's a deep attachment. You mount it on your rack and it lets you do dips, and that's pretty much it. You might be able to find ways to do other exercises with it, as we'll see later, but you shouldn't buy it for that reason. The reason I bought it is pretty simple. I wanted a dip attachment to go with my rack, since dips are probably one of my favorite exercises. I loved the idea of being able to change the angle and width between the handles, and at the time, the Velocidor was pretty much the only attachment that let me do that. Now, let's get into the details. The Velocidor has two 48mm handles that you can choose either smooth or knurled. I went with the knurled version since I really like knurled stuff. The knurling is as good as you'd expect from a Rogue product. I'd say it's medium. Not as aggressive as my Ohio Power Bar, but definitely not passive. It actually feels really good during dips. What really makes this attachment special, or at least it did in 2022 when there weren't that many competitors in Europe, is the adjustability. Each handle can be mounted in 3 different lateral positions, giving you 3 different handle widths. That lets you match your build or just experiment to find what's more comfortable. Or gives you the best muscle activation. For me, the widest settings hits my chest very well. The closest one really targets my triceps, and the middle is a good balance. And then, for each of those positions, you have 4 different angles you can set the handles to. So this is the first one. It's actually slightly angled downwards. You just turn the knob right behind it, pull it back a little, and then you rotate it. And you have those small holes where this particular pin goes. And this ensures that you have the handle really well set once in place. So this is slightly outward, slightly upward, and then back to the regular position. So these are the 4 positions. The upward and downward go around 7 degrees up and down. And then you just set the knob right back. This gives you the option to perform dips with a slight incline or decline, which can slightly shift the emphasis between the clavicular and the sternal heads of the chest. If you're keeping the handle symmetrical, you've got 12 total combinations. The Velocidor has 2 mounting holes that let you attach it to your rack. That's also the way you use it to store it on your rack. You don't necessarily need to use both pins to secure it. Even on weighted dips, it doesn't move with just 1 pin. That said, using both makes it easier to install. You can put 1 pin in and have it like this, and then take it up and put the second one. The way I store it myself is like this. So you have an extra pin that you can put in any hole of your rack, because this one is a 1-inch hole, of course. Then maybe take it up a little. Like this. And then I remove the handle and put them the other way around. They also put holes on this side too, so that the little pin goes in completely, and then you put the knob back. And that way, it's way more compact so that you can store it pretty easily on your rack. It still takes some place, of course. It's space that you won't have available on your rack anymore, but that's a pretty smart way to do it. Another thing worth mentioning is that Rogue ships it with a monster strip and 2 huge wood screws, so you can store it on your wall. That's a great touch. They didn't have to include that. But as you can see, I didn't use mine. Why? 2 reasons. I don't really have the wall space available first, and more importantly, house construction in Europe is different from the US. Americans use wood studs, while we rather use thin metal studs, at least in France. And I'm not comfortable hanging a 20-kilo steel piece of metal on those, especially with those giant holes on it. Now, about versatility. It's not its strong suit. After owning it for a few years, I'd say there are only 3 other exercises I'd consider doing on it besides dips: inverted rows, deficit push-ups, and neutral grip pull-ups. And that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments if there are other exercises that I should try. Alright, now that you know what this bad boy is, here are my top pros and biggest cons to help you decide if it's right for your home gym. Number 1 pro, the build quality and the finish. As with most Rogue products, the fit and finish on the Velocidor is top tier. The knurling, the welds, the powder coating, the lasered emblem, it's gorgeous. And more importantly, it feels rock solid. No wobble, no flex, even on heavy dips. I know this thing will last as long as my rack. Number 2, adjustability. Being able to tweak the angle and width to better target your chest or your triceps, or even a specific part of your chest, is pretty sweet. I won't say it's a game changer. The differences are subtle, but it adds nice variety to your dip training and it keeps training pretty interesting. Now, for the biggest cons in my opinion. Number 1, the weight and bulk of the Velocidor. Second, setting it up is pretty straightforward, but this thing is heavy, at around 20 kilo, and it's pretty awkward to move. I never know where to grab it, and it always feels like a hassle. I wish Rogue would have added some kind of handle to make it more easy to transport. Maybe they assume they just leave it on one spot, but in a small home gym, this is rarely possible. Number 2 is the lack of versatility. As I already mentioned over and over in previous videos, versatility is king in a home gym. Having a big, expensive attachment that only allows 1 or 2 exercises isn't ideal, especially at 450 euros shipped. And here is a missed opportunity, the handles. I understand the need to add those little pins for angle adjustments, but that also means that you can't use the handles on your rack, even if the hole size matches. That's a huge bummer. If Rogue had made the handles rack compatible, this would have been a much more versatile piece. So, should you buy it? Well, it depends. If you already have a Rogue rack, want top tier quality, love dips, and don't mind spending 450 euros plus, then yes, you'll be really happy with it. But that's a pretty small niche. For most people in Europe, I'd recommend looking at other options. Rogue now sells the Mutant Metals Ultimate Dip Attachment in Europe. It's still expensive at around 400 euros, but it's lighter at 14 kg, more compact, and the handles can be used on your rack, which gives that extra versatility. If I were buying today, I'd probably go for that one. And of course, there are plenty of cheaper alternatives without angle adjustments, like the Rogue Matador at under 250 euros shipped, or other dip attachments from your rack manufacturer. And that's it. Everything you need to know about the Rogue Velocidor. If you have any questions or if you've tried it and want to share your thoughts, drop a comment below. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. À plus!